parents refused to babysit with my children when I asked them to. Are you kidding? Find someone else, my mom said. The next day, they regretted it, and now they are begging me. My parents always favored my sister Sharon. It wasn't even subtle. She was the golden child, the one who got the praise, the attention, the help. I was just there, expected to take care of myself. While I was saving up for my first car, my parents bought Sharon a car for her birthday. When I moved out and got my own place, they barely reacted. But when Sharon decided to move in with her boyfriend, they practically threw her a party and remodeled part of the house for her. I moved to the next town with my wife and started my own family. Sharon, on the other hand, never really left. Even after she got married and had children, she stayed with my parents. They helped her with everything, cooking, cleaning, and especially taking care of the kids. It was as if they were raising a second family. Meanwhile, my children were treated like distant relatives. Visits were always awkward. My parents never asked about my children's school or activities. Their refrigerator was covered with Sharon's kids' drawings, while mine weren't even acknowledged. Christmas and birthdays were the worst. My kids got a few basic gifts, while Sharon's kids were showered with expensive presents. Still, I helped them financially. My parents weren't wealthy, and when Sharon decided she finally wanted her own place, they came to me. They needed money for renovations to make it perfect for her and her family. I had already given them $113,000. They never even thanked me. It was just expected. Then came the breaking point. My wife and I wanted to take a short vacation. Nothing crazy, just a long weekend, some time to breathe, to relax. We hadn't had a real break in years, so I went to my parents and asked if they could watch our kids for a few days. The reaction was immediate. Are you kidding? Find someone else. My mom snapped before I could even finish. My dad barely looked up from his phone. I stood there, stunned. What? Mom sighed, already acting like I was being difficult. We only watch the kids when it's important, Daniel. You and your wife just want to relax. That's not a good enough reason for us to bother. I let out a short laugh. Not a good enough reason? You watch Sharon's kids all the time. That's different, my dad muttered. How? Mom crossed her arms. Because she needs us. I shook my head. Sharon and her husband go out every weekend. She needs to go clubbing. That's not the point, Dad said. Then what is the point? I asked. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like all you care about is her kids. Mom waved her hand dismissively. Sharon lives here. We're in her life every day. You made the decision to move away. You have your own responsibilities. I was stunned. So because I chose to be independent, I don't get the same support? That's not what we're saying, she replied, but her tone said otherwise. I clenched my jaw and nodded slowly. Got it. I told my wife everything that night. She wasn't surprised. She just sighed. They've always been like this, but this is getting worse. She was right, and I was done playing along. The next morning, I texted my parents. Since you've made it clear where your priorities are, I'm making mine clear. I will no longer be sending you money to fix up the apartment. I've already given you $133,000 for Sharon's new place, but from now on, you're on your own. Then I turned off my phone. Let them sit with that. I didn't turn my phone back on until later that night. When I did, it exploded, with missed calls and messages, first from my mom, then my dad. Then, predictably, Sharon. Mom's text started out passive-aggressive. Daniel, don't be ridiculous. We are your parents. We don't deserve this treatment. Then they turned guilt-ridden. After all we've done for you, this is how you repay us? Then came my father's attempt. Call your mother. She's upset. Sharon's message was the worst. Wow, so you're really going to punish Mom and Dad over this? You know they depend on you. And for what? Because they wouldn't babysit? Grow up. I scoffed and closed my phone. My wife raised an eyebrow from across the room. Let me guess, she said. They're acting like you're the bad guy. Of course. I ignored it for the rest of the night, but early the next morning, my dad showed up at my door. He never visited me. I opened it, And he came in without asking. Your mother is sick because of this, he said. She hasn't been able to sleep. I crossed my arms. Oh yeah? Well, I've been losing sleep for years because of how you treat my family. His face hardened. This is different. You blindsided us, Daniel. You know we were counting on the money. The renovations are half done. How are we supposed to pay for the rest? Not my problem, I said. You expected me to keep paying while you made it clear that my children don't matter to you. That's not true, he shot back. We love your kids. You have a funny way of showing it. Dad sighed and rubbed his forehead. Look, maybe we were a little harsh, but you overreacted. Sharon needs this apartment. You know how hard things have been for her. I laughed and shook my head. Sharon lives in your house, gets free childcare, free meals, and now you want me to pay for her new apartment. Meanwhile, my wife and I bust our asses every day without any help, and the one time I ask you for something, you act like I'm asking for a kidney. Dad was silent for a moment. Then he tried another approach. Son, family takes care of family. You can't just cut us off like this. I stared at him. That's exactly what I'm doing. His jaw tightened. Fine, he said. But don't come crying to us when you need help. I almost laughed in his face. When did I ever come to you for help? He had no answer. He just turned and walked out the door. An hour later, my mother called again. This time I answered. Her voice was shaky, as if she'd been crying. Daniel, please. Your father shouldn't have come. He was upset. We don't want to argue with you. I waited. I knew there was more. You know we love you, she went on, and your children. We want to be a part of their lives. You've had a chance to prove that, I said. Honey, can't we work this out? Maybe we can work something out. We just need a little more help with the renovations, and then things can get back to normal. There it was, the real reason for the phone call. I exhaled slowly. Mom, normal is me being treated like I don't matter while you do everything for Sharon. I'm done with that, and I'm done paying for it. She sniffled. So you're really going to let us fight? I felt a surge of anger. You've made me feel like a second-class son my whole life, and now you expect me to rescue you. She didn't answer. Good luck with the renovations, I said, and hung up. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. I thought my parents would back off after that conversation. Maybe they'd be mad, maybe they'd pout, but I thought they'd get the message. Instead, they doubled down. The next day I got a phone call from an unknown number. I don't usually answer them, but for some reason I picked up. Daniel? A voice said, It's your Uncle Mike. I hadn't talked to my dad's brother in years. We were never close. He lived a few states away and only came around for the holidays when we were kids. I had no idea why he was calling me now. Hey, he sighed. Listen, I just got off the phone with your mom. She's hysterical. Your dad is furious. They say you're refusing to help them and that you're abandoning the family. I almost laughed. Oh, so they conveniently left out the part about treating my children like second-class grandchildren. Daniel, I don't know all the details, he said, but they're struggling. They told me the renovations are only half done, and now they don't know how they're going to finish. Not my problem, I said. There was a pause. Then he lowered his voice. Look, between you and me, I think you're being unreasonable. I know how they've always favored Sharon. It's been obvious for years, but this will ruin your relationship with them. That relationship was already ruined, I said. He sighed. All right, I just thought I'd try. But, Daniel, be careful. Your parents are desperate right now. Desperate people do stupid things. That stayed with me. The next morning, my wife shook me awake, phone in hand. Daniel, she said, her voice tense, your parents just posted something on Facebook. I sat up and grabbed the phone. Right there, in big, dramatic text, was a post from my mom. After all we've done for our children, it's heartbreaking when one of them turns his back on us in our time of need. We raised our children with love, but sometimes, no matter how much you give, they still abandon you. It's a sad day when a family chooses money over blood. And underneath, a flood of comments from family and friends offering support. You don't deserve this. Some kids are just ungrateful. After all the sacrifices you've made, I'm so sorry. Sharon, of course, had also commented, "I wish I could help more, Mom and Dad, but I know things will work out. Love you." I could feel my blood boiling. Unbelievable. I had barely processed it when my phone rang. It was my aunt, my mother's sister. The second I answered, she was furious. "Daniel, what the hell is going on? Your mom makes it sound like you've completely abandoned her, but I know there's more to it than that," I exhaled. Finally, someone who didn't blindly take her side. So I told her everything. The favoritism, the babysitting, the money, the fact that I had already given them $113,000 and they were expecting more. She was silent for a moment. Then she sighed. "I knew they favored Sharon, but I didn't know it was this bad. Look, do what you have to do, but I'll tell you this. Your mother is trying to get the whole family to turn against you." "Let her try," I said. What I didn't expect was how quickly things would escalate. That night, I got a text from my bank, a fraud alert. Someone had tried to take $5,000 out of my account. My heart stopped. I logged on immediately. The transaction had been flagged, so it didn't go through, but the account it was associated with, my parents' names were on it. They had tried to take my money. My hand shook as I stared at the screen. My parents had actually tried to steal from me. I called the bank immediately. After checking everything, the representative confirmed that someone had tried to withdraw $55,000 from my account using an old joint savings account I had set up years ago when I was in college. At the time, I had added my parents' names in case of an emergency. I had completely forgotten it even existed. The good news, the bank flagged it as suspicious and blocked the transfer. The bad news, my parents were clearly hoping I wouldn't notice. I hung up and turned to my wife. "They tried to take $5,000 from me." Her jaw dropped. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious." I picked up my phone and called my mom. She picked up on the second ring as if she'd been waiting for me to call. "Daniel," she began, her voice sweet and calm as if nothing had happened. I didn't bother with small talk. "Did you or Dad just try to take $5,000 out of my account?" Silence. Then, in the most casual voice, she said, "Well, technically, it's not stealing. It's a joint account. I almost lost it. I haven't touched that account in years. You had no right." "You're overreacting," she said. "We just wanted to borrow a little to keep the renovations going. You were going to help anyway, so what does it matter?" I felt my blood pressure rise. "You really think this is okay? We were going to pay you back," she snapped, suddenly defensive. "The hell you were." "What choice did we have?" she shot back. "You got us into this situation, Daniel. You created this whole mess. If you had just helped like we asked, none of this would have happened." I almost laughed. The audacity was unreal. "You chose to favor Sharon your entire life. You chose to treat my children like they didn't matter. And now you're trying to steal from me because I finally set a boundary. That's on you." She scoffed. "You're being dramatic." I was done. "Let me be clear," I said. "If you or Dad ever try to take money from me again, I'm pressing charges. And since you want to pretend I don't exist, consider it mutual. We're done." I hung up. Within minutes, my phone exploded with messages, more guilt, more manipulation. Then a text from Sharon. "Wow, you're really turning your back on your own parents. You're heartless." I didn't reply. Instead, I went straight to the bank, removed my parents from the old account, and transferred every last dollar out of it. Then, I made sure they had no access to any of my finances. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong again because 2 days later, I got a call from a lawyer. My parents were threatening to sue me. I stared down at my phone in disbelief. A lawyer! They were actually going to sue me. I answered, pulling myself together. The voice on the other end was professional but firm. "Mr. Daniels, I'm calling on behalf of your parents, Richard and Linda Daniels. They have informed me that you have made a verbal agreement to provide financial assistance for the renovation of their home, and they are prepared to take legal action to collect the balance." I almost laughed. "Are you serious?" The lawyer didn't respond. They claim that you promised to pay for all the renovations and that your refusal to continue payments has caused them significant financial hardship. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I gave them $113,000 out of generosity. That was never a contract. They think otherwise, the lawyer said softly, and they're prepared to take this to court. I exhaled sharply. All right, let me make this easy for you. Tell them to go ahead and sue. I'll be happy to take all the receipts to court, including the attempted theft of my account. Oh, and while we're at it, I'll let the whole family know about this little incident. Silence. Then the lawyer cleared his throat. I see. I'll pass on your message. I hung up, furious. My parents had lost their minds. They were so desperate for money that they were willing to drag me into court for nothing. I wasn't going to wait around to see what stunt they were going to try next, so I made a decision. I went public. That night, I took a deep breath and posted everything on Facebook. I didn't just respond to their passive-aggressive post. I laid it all out. How my parents had always favored Sharon and ignored my children, how I had already given them $113,000 for renovations, how they had tried to steal $5,000 from my bank account, and finally, how they were now trying to sue me because I refused to continue paying for Sharon's new apartment. I ended it with, Mom, Dad, since you like to make things public, here you go. If anyone wants to call me selfish, I'd love to hear how I'm wrong for not letting my parents bleed me dry while treating my kids like they don't matter. Good luck with the lawsuit. Then I hit send. The reaction was immediate. Relatives began calling out my parents. Family members who had always stayed neutral were furious. My mother's own sister left a comment saying she was disgusted by their behavior. Then came the biggest shock. Sharon's own husband texted me. Hey man, can we talk? I think I've been blind to a lot of things and I need to clear some things up. I never expected him to reach out to me, but clearly things were about to get even messier. I stared at the message from Sharon's husband, Tyler. We had never been close. He had always gone along with whatever Sharon and my parents wanted, so why was he reaching out now? I called him, and he answered immediately. Look, man, he started. I had no idea your parents were trying to sue you. Sharon just told me, and I feel like an idiot. For what? For everything, he admitted. I always thought you were just keeping your distance because you were busy with your own life. I never realized how badly your parents treat you or your kids. But after that Facebook post, I started putting things together. And now I'm wondering how much of our lives have they controlled. That caught me off guard. What do you mean? He exhaled. Sharon and I have always relied on them. They made it easy, watching the kids, handling things around the house, always telling us what we should do. I thought they were just helping, but now I see it. They wanted control, and I let them have it. I could hear the frustration in his voice. I tried to talk to Sharon about it, but she's completely in denial. She thinks you're overreacting, that you'll eventually give in, like always. I clenched my jaw. That's not happening. Yeah, I figured. And honestly, I don't blame you. I just wanted to say I respect what you're doing, and I'm sorry I never saw it before. I didn't know what to say, but before I could respond, another call came through. My mom. I let out a breath. Gotta go, Tyler. Good luck, man. I switched calls. What do you want? She sounded panicked. Daniel, why would you humiliate us like that? The whole family is turning against us. Maybe because they finally see the truth. Your father and I have been sick over this. Do you have any idea how much you've hurt us? I laughed bitterly. That's funny, because you didn't seem to care when you were hurting me, or my kids, or when you tried to steal from me, or when you tried to sue me. That was a misunderstanding, she rushed to say. No, it wasn't, I snapped. It was desperation. And you know what's funny? Even after everything, I still wasn't planning to go public, but you had to run to Facebook first, so don't play the victim now. She let out a shaky breath. Daniel, please, let's just fix this. Let's sit down as a family. No. Silence. Then her voice hardened. If you walk away from us, you're the one breaking this family apart. I felt something inside me snap. No, Mom. You did that. When you decided that only one of your children mattered, when you decided that my kids were less important, when you tried to take from me because you thought I'd just let it slide, you broke this family. And now you're facing the consequences. Her breath hitched. Daniel, I want you to listen carefully, I said, my voice ice cold. We are done. You are nothing to me now. Do not call me. Do not text me. Do not ask me for another cent. I hope Sharon was worth it. Because she's the only child you have left. I hung up, blocked her, blocked my dad, blocked Sharon, and just like that, I was free.